After Maddy Montgomery is left at the altar by her fiance, MD, she learns that she's inherited her aunt's bakery and decides to start anew in small town Michigan. But not even a week after her move, Maddy finds herself the prime suspect in a real-life murder. Will our designer label loving heroine solve the case before her Gucci goose is cooked? The book. Two parts sugar, 1 part murder by Valerie Burns. And you're listening to Lit Society. Let's get lit!
I love that intro. It's fun.
Hey y'all, this is Kari.
And this is Alexis.
And you're listening to Lit Society, a show about books and drama. Alexis, did you like my intro there?
I did. It
for this
made me
week's
chuckle.
Mm-hmm. And don't we all need a little chuckle these days?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know I love alliteration. It ain't got a rhyme, but them words better start on the same sound. Anyway, before our Gucci goose is cooked, let's continue. Listeners, as you know, we start each show with a theme of the week inspired by the book we're listening to.
Yeah.
And this week's theme, how to start over in a new town.
Ooh.
Alexis, I thought this was a subject matter both you and I are familiar with. Mm-hmm. So I thought we could give our tips for starting over in a new town, whether that be for school, work, or just starting over.
Just starting over.
Sometimes people just need a refresh.
They do. I'm going to give me one of them soon.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody don't know your name. Cheers.
You know I love that.
Sometimes anonymity is the answer.
It is.
So once you before you even start planning for your big move, even if it's down the street, new neighborhood, new city, new country, it helps to have a game plan.
Yeah.
So let's share a few tried and true tested tips for how to start over in a new town. The number one, in order of importance, you want to first find a purpose and decide on your personal values. This is a great tip because sometimes people move to escape. And while oftentimes it's better to confront your problems head on, sometimes a little escapage is necessary. No judgment. We listen. We don't judge. You need to escape.
Child, I done escaped, so I'm count me in the category because I'm an escapist.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little escaping. Are you moving to escape? Perhaps you had a bad relationship. Everyone knows you and that ex. And every time you see people, it's been 5 years, they go, oh, how Charles doing?
Charles no more.
Charles is married with 3 kids and I didn't have any of them. So what are you asking me for?
Leave me out of it, okay?
Or maybe you've been at a job for 10 years and you get laid off, fired, or you quit.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to start afresh. They say life is short, but it's the longest thing you'll ever do. So if you feel like you need to start over in a new town, number one is to know your purpose and your personal values, because wherever you go, you're taking you with you.
I like it. Yeah, it helped me pick a place. It helped choose the area. I had all those values that I wanted to think about, what I wanted to see, accomplish, and be a part of when I chose a place to live. So yeah, it's a big deal.
That's a great point, because where you live could be connected to your purpose. So for example, when I moved, I had a purpose for moving, and once I made sure that that was the priority, where I lived and even the job I chose could center around that. And it made everything more easier, which will lead to tip number 2. But before we get off of this, knowing your personal values and having a purpose, some questions to ask to get yourself there are, what are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? What are you passionate about? And we'll even add, what drives the purpose of your life? You want to make sure that wherever you live, it is conducive to your spiritual self, frankly. So that's number one. But then number two, set goals and make plans to achieve them. I've had friends move with the goal of getting married. They just wanted to meet someone and get married, which is very Jones girlfriends, aughts, and late 90s of them. But no judgment, because we listen and we don't judge.
We listen and we don't judge.
But goals like that are contingent on the decisions of someone else. What goals can you set that no one can stop you from achieving except you? Maybe that goal is small, like learning how to play the piano. That's not small. I don't know why I said that. Maybe that goal is to start a new career and excel at a certain in a certain aspect of that career. Maybe your goal is to learn a new language and to immerse yourself in a culture that speaks that language. Those are all great goals, of course. How have goals, Alexis, helped you as you started in a new city, a new country even? And how did you create those goals, and then how did you achieve them?
So I can think of when I moved to Chicago, I had some financial goals in mind. So I could, keeping that in mind, when I moved, I downsized a little bit so I can focus my energies on achieving those goals. And then when I was in Portugal, my goal was different. So when I landed, where I landed there, I could make sure I had access to accomplishing the goals that I wanted to do. Easy access. It wasn't too complicated to get to where I needed to go. Everything was within range of me, helping me to achieve my goal.
I love that. And then you can kind of, maybe if you are someone that likes to write things down, you can write down what milestones you want to hit before hitting those larger goals. Obstacles that maybe stop you from your purpose or your plan, and how to get around those obstacles, because that happens. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes things come up you didn't expect or could never have guessed. Well, how are you going to surmount those obstacles? Because you will. So 1 and 2, again, to know your purpose and then to have those goals in mind. Anything you want to say about those 2 before we move on to 3?
No, I wanted to hear about your situation.
So my goal was related to a volunteer work that I'm very invested in, and then also learning a foreign language, in this case, Italian. So I wanted to immerse myself in a culture that spoke Italian, which is why I moved. And I will say that there were definitely obstacles. It takes a lot of time to learn languages, and some people are more skilled and adept at learning different languages. But whether or not you are, you need the time. So working full time, being out on my own for the first time, and then learning Italian, there were definitely obstacles. And then there were learning programs that I joined that felt more like social clubs. And I was like, man, this is a huge waste of time. So I had to learn those lessons so that I could move on to number 3, which is surround yourself with people who support your vision and dreams. If your goal needs people, such as learning a language, you need to make sure that you surround yourself with people that are conducive to learning that goal. But even more than that, wherever your goal is, you want cheerleaders. You want people who do not superficially support you, but who genuinely are invested in your success. These are typically family members and friends. And then as you meet friends in your new town, you want to make sure that they too are goal-oriented. Yes, it is okay to be picky. I know. We don't like to think of friendships as being contingent on something. And I'm not saying that's what you want to do at all. If you are in a town where you grew up with your friends, those were friends that you happened upon in life and they became like family, no doubt. And so as you grow and as you move, it's okay to be more selective. People cannot just fall into your life and become your friend. Okay?
Yeah, be selective for sure. For
Be
sure.
selective. It's not about how much money they have or about selfish advantages that you can get with being their friend. No, 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 no. That's not what we're saying. In fact, some people need your friendship more than you need theirs. And that's
This is
okay
true.
too.
Mhm.
Okay? But are they goal oriented? Are these people that get into trouble with the law? Are these people that can't hold down a relationship or job?
Ooh,
Which
not a
maybe-
relationship or a job.
maybe that's okay because both are a little slippery. But why? Why can't they? You know, maybe think about that. I'm just saying. So, and as I think about Alexis moving to another country and her achieving her goals, she wasn't fleeing the country. She wasn't out on the lam. So she could reach back to the friends she had stateside and tell us how she was doing with her goals. And then we could cheer her on. And then she had friends there who were also cheering her on. So you're forming this tribe.
Yep.
You know, to borrow a popular term from current vernacular. And you want your tribe to help you succeed.
You do.
Number 4, try new things whenever you have the opportunity. Alexis, what are some new things that you tried when you moved to Chicago or when you moved to Portugal? What are some new things? And then how did that affect you and who you are today?
Okay, so I gotta say, I have moved like 3 big times in my life. The first time I moved was escapism. The second time I moved was a different kind of escape.
I forgot. Yeah. Alexis used to pick strawberries in Georgia. I forgot. I was a wee little girl.
Yeah.
But I do remember that.
Yeah, I did. But when I moved there, I like exploring new communities. So ask your question again.
Yeah, what new things did you try? And even though you don't live in some of those places now, how did those new experiences affect who you are today?
I tried transportation systems. You have to get to know the land in which you live. And if you're not driving, and when I was 18, I wasn't driving. So I had to get around somewhere. I walked. I took the transportation system, and I did that in each place I went to. In Portugal, it was fun. So it was all fun. I love public transportation, so I have a problem with that. I'm always going to try and get on it wherever I can. But in Portugal, it was food. Each town, it was food. There's always food to be tried. There's places to explore, new venues to go into. There's just so much things that you can explore in each location you go to. And that helps expose you. I feel like exposure is a huge teacher. And you learn about people, you learn about things, you learn what to do, what not to do anymore. Sometimes you fall, sometimes you don't fall. I remember taking a train in Chicago, and I got on the train and I went the wrong way, and I just kept getting on the wrong way. And I text my friend Kari and I said, I got on the wrong train again.
I remember being mad.
And you
I
were
can't
so
remember.
mad. I was like, why is she so mad? It's my experience.
No, because I didn't feel like that was a lesson you needed to learn repeatedly. You need to learn your cardinal directions. This is not on the list, but you just reminded me, wherever you are, know your north from your south.
You do. But when you go in a basement,
she's talking about the L, which ironically is sometimes, even though it's an elevated train, sometimes it's underground. Please go ahead.
It is. You still have to figure out where you are directionally that way. So I take it all in as experience, and it helps me grow and understand the area in which I'm living in. That's how it works for me.
So I am teasing you in jest because you do need to learn those experiences. You need to know that when you get lost, you have been lost before.
Yeah.
And you found your way then. Oh, what a metaphor. And you will find your way this time too.
Yeah. It's okay to get lost a couple of times. Because then you figure out how to get back to where you need to be. And I've done that in Portugal. I've done that everywhere I've gone. Maintain composure and okay, think about it. What makes sense? And I just think it's so helpful.
I agree with you. And we have some listeners, no doubt, from the South and West who are like, public transportation. Y'all, public transportation, if no one is throwing their garbage or feces on you, is great. No, the other two things can happen. But a day when don't nobody really mess with you, your time is yours.
That's right.
You can read what you want. I take naps and set my alarm. I do.
I don't do that.
I don't recommend that. No one does, but I do it because I'm tired all the time. The point is, try new things. That can also mean go to a party or a dinner with people you don't know, who you don't know are there. What am I trying to say? Go to gatherings with people you don't know well.
Okay.
Have an out. That out might be Uber. Yeah. That out might be your transportation, your car or whatever, a safe way to leave. But do not do something just because you don't know the people involved. Of course, you want to be reasonable. You don't want to put yourself in unsafe situations, but this might be a great opportunity to meet friends. We have a friend that went to Africa for a month with people she didn't really know that well. And it was an experience she will hold with her for the rest of her life. It was beautiful. It was awesome. There were challenges that she'd never faced before. And she widened out her social circle and the group of people that she loved and who are always looking out for her because of this experience. So it's only a good thing. Well, then finally, let's go to 5. Oh, actually 4. A little tip.
A little more than 4. Okay.
Yeah, in regards to having your directions and knowing logistically your new home, I recommend bike rides because or running. If you're a runner or you're a biker, get to know your new location that way because it's a very intimate thing and you'll remember more which streets are where the main avenues are, things like that, biking and running. Awesome. And then number 5.
So important. So important.
Number 5 is to do it. So
just do it.
Just do it. If you feel that in order to help you grow in life, or maybe it's not that serious, you just feel like you need a fresh slate, there's nothing wrong with moving.
That happens.
Start over in a new town. The world is a great big place. If everyone you know has frozen you in time and sees you as that same girl that stole the cell phone from Sprint or wherever, Sprint ain't around, that's the point.
They still reminding you of your past.
Yeah. If you want to grow beyond your reputation, or if your reputation is great and you just have other goals you want to achieve, pick a new town. Know your purpose, set some goals, meet new friends, and do it. You'll be fine. Maybe not, but don't blame us. All right, then, Alexis, anything else you want to add about how to start over in a new town?
Have a positive attitude. Be excited about it. If you're not 100%, or I say if you're not fully committed to it, don't do it. Don't do it. But if you want to do it, you want to try something new, leap.
Take the leap. And I just want to provide one quote from an author and philanthropist. I know a lot of our listeners are regular listeners of our show, so you'll love this. But listen to this, Alexis.
Okay.
This author and philanthropist, when it comes to starting over in a new town, says this: when starting over, begin by letting go of who you used to be and what no longer serves your higher purpose. Make space for the new identity waiting to emerge, not by erasing your history, but by no longer letting it dictate your future. What matters now is who you choose to become.
That's so true. I love this quote.
That's from Sheryl Sandberg, author of Lean In. And on that note, for more about Sheryl, please listen to last week's episode.
Or not. Shoot.
Careless people. And on that note, let's take a break. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. And we're back. Alexis, how did
Yes.
you? Well, before we get into how did you choose this week's book, let's talk a little bit about the author, some context, and perhaps Valerie's inspiration for writing 2-part sugar, 1-part murder. What you got for us?
Okay. I don't have any context. I didn't come across that. If you did, please share. I can just tell you who Valerie is. She was born and raised in Northwestern Indiana. She lives in Northern Georgia now with her 2 poodles, and she's an operations manager at a local call center. She's also an adjunct professor in the writing popular fiction program at Seton Hill University in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. She is a prolific writer of cozy mysteries and an Agatha, Anthony, Edgar, and Next Generation Indie Award finalist. She publishes under a couple names. One is, in addition to Valerie Burns, it's V.M. Burns, where she is the author of the Mystery Bookshop series, Mystery Bookshop Mystery, Dog Club Mystery, R.J. Franklin Mystery, and then there's Kaylee E. Benjamin, which is a pseudonym where Valerie writes Bailey the Bloodhound Mystery Series, which I believe are children's books. I think those were her first books.
Lovely. Okay.
2 Parts Sugar was published in February 2022 and is the first in the Baker Street Mystery series. And that is what I have for our Valerie Burns. Kari, who do you think would enjoy reading our book?
I think if you're a fan of Yinka, Where's Your Husband? I think this is the book for you. Perhaps Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jane Allen. If you love those books with a contemporary setting, a modern Black female protagonist in a world where she's navigating her career and love, then I think you could. Also, it's a cozy mystery. So I think if you like that, you could slide right on into this. And Alexis, what made you choose this week's book?
Okay, so I was on, I know what it is. I was on Audible, just kind of perusing, looking for the next lighthearted book. And this popped up as a freebie. So I listened and I said, oh, I think we can cover this. This seems fun enough. And
so did you know it would be lighthearted before you chose it?
The title. So I'm always looking for, I look for books that talk about bookshops, and I also look for books that talk about baking. I don't know if you remember, but I used to post pictures of some food in the
Alexis,
book. And
you had a reality
cover.
show. Yes, you did. But you also had a baking reality show. It never made air, but you were recording pilots all the time, one time at our home. With your friends, your fabulous friends. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember. But I do remember your Instagram series, A Book and Bake, Baking a Book.
Yeah.
A Book and a Bake.
Mm-hmm. So this came with recipes in it. The book actually has recipes in it. And so I don't know why, but I ran out of time and I didn't bake, but I still want to. So I might bake. Oh,
you wanted to bake something from this book?
Okay. Yeah. Kind of push myself back into posting more frequently. But anyway.
So on Instagram? After last week's episode, you will be listening.
But I can't help it.
No, you're doing great. Okay. Well, without further ado, let's get into the plot of 2-Part Sugar, 1-Part Murder by Valerie Burns. Alexis, you have the floor.
Thank you. So this book was published in 2022, and I will be spoiling it. Okay. So our story begins with Maddy Montgomery boarding a small plane to Indiana in her Louboutin heels and no first class. Okay, she's looking for first class and it's not there.
That was weird. That's weird. So she's boarding a regional plane from Chicago to Indiana and she's asking the stewardess about first class. This is a woman who has traveled all over the world, we will soon learn.
So I felt that way initially too, but then when I think about it and I think about people never going to small towns, you wouldn't do that because it's a small plane from Chicago to Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And if you don't ever do that, then you may not be exposed to such small things. So that's how I wrote that out. Anyway, she almost falls as she boards, and her fall is stopped by a priest who she ends up sitting next to. It's a Catholic priest. So she decides to confess, and she admits, though, I'm not really religious, but I'm trying to be, okay? I got some things to get off my chest. So she runs down her recent life because she feels like she needs guidance. She says she was supposed to be going on her honeymoon, but her fiance dumped her right before the wedding. The wedding was going to be live streamed, and she had everything planned out. Okay. And now her man is with her ex-man is with somebody else.
A friend.
A friend, no doubt. Her fiance.
And he was a doctor.
Her fiance told her she was only marrying him because he was a doctor, and she didn't really love him. Now, they was together 8 years. I'm like, really? Well, when the priest asked her if that was true, were you only marrying him because he was a doctor? She had to admit that it was true because it just made sense. She has a father that's an admiral in the Navy, and he's like, you need to do better job with making decisions. So just do better. So she decided to just kind of think about things. And then she saw this movie, How to Marry a Millionaire. And in the movie, the character says most women use more brains picking a horse in the third Belmont than they do picking a husband. So she said, I'm not going to wait for a feeling. I'm going to think this out.
I'm going to be pragmatic. And I love that movie. Don't you love that movie, Alexis?
I do love that movie.
Lauren Bacall of Marilyn Monroe. And I thought she picked the wrong quote. There's a great quote by Marilyn Monroe at the end. And she tells her future husband's father, he wouldn't be marrying me if I was ugly. So why people mad at me? Because I won't marry him if he broke. That don't make sense.
I love it.
Gems.
I love it. Okay. Yes. So she decided she was going to stop being impulsive and make a better decision. So she did her research.
That's right.
She researched careers, and she decided the best pick for someone with her skill set. And that was a doctor.
And she made sure she had the skills that would be desirable in a doctor's wife.
That's right.
Both education-wise, social-wise. What's all this love talk? Come on. Yeah. This was a great decision.
Yeah.
He ruined everything.
He ruined everything. He humiliated her. Okay. So she's heading to New Bison because she was named her great aunt Octavia's heir. She was to inherit her business and her home. An aunt that she doesn't recall meeting, maybe even once. And she got the notification that her aunt passed, and she saw it as an opportunity to get away, to hide out, no less, and recover from the humiliation, regain her dignity and social standing.
Start over in a new town.
Yeah. Maddie is a social media influencer from California. Like I said, her father's an admiral in the Navy. Her mother died when she was young, and her father took care of her, spoiled her even. Okay. What else you want to share about Maddie? Did I leave anything out?
Yeah, I think she's got a degree from Stanford. She's an art major. History major or something. And she speaks many languages. She's a Navy brat. And she is superficial, but not stupid.
No.
That's all.
Yeah, that's good.
Men ain't marrying ugly people. Why should women marry broke people? Just stir in the pot, books and drama. There's the drama. There you go.
If you're ever wondering, it's right here. Okay. Before she deplanes, the priest tells her to keep an open mind about New Bison because it's not going to be the life you're accustomed to. But if you give it a chance, it'll be exactly what you need. So she posts a picture of her and the priest. Okay, snip, snip, on her socials, okay?
She'd never acts like a social media influencer, by the way. She is taking photos of herself in real time, posting them in real time. If you wanted to stalk her, it'd be very easy to do. Her hashtags are terrible. Her photos are terrible. She's just, suspend disbelief.
Well, her hashtags fit her need. Why you don't like her hashtags?
Yeah, they're not optimum to growth and engagement
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
But that's fine.
But in the book, she's getting,
Yeah, she'll
viral
post like a
posts.
dog's butt and it'll be 2 million likes in 30 seconds. Let you know what we're dealing with here.
They're interested.
All my marketing majors and career-driven women, you will be slightly furious. But remember, that's not what this book is really about.
It's not about that.
Who cares?
When Maddy meets the attorney to discuss the inheritance, she quickly learns she cannot just sell the business and the house. And she has to actually stay in New Bison for 1 year. If she doesn't, the house will be sold and the business will be sold and donated to charity. The attorney decides he shares a video that Aunt Octavia left for her, VHS form. Okay. In the video, Maddy is told she offered to care for her when she was a little girl. Aunt Octavia offered to care for Maddy after her mom died, but her father saw it as a duty and he wouldn't hear of anybody taking care of his child but him. And so he buried himself in his work and he would send Aunt Octavia, great Aunt Octavia, regular reports on Maddy's upbringing. So Aunt Octavia knows that Maddy is smart, that she knows that she's spoiled. She has a love for expensive shoes. She knows these things. The great aunt decided that Maddy was too smart to waste her life buying shoes and posting the stuff on the social medias. Okay? It's too much. You need some more experience in life.
Very judgy.
That's right. That's what
You're
we do.
You're too smart to be a social media influencer.
That's what our older loved ones do. Okay? That's expected. So she decided that Maddy needed to get away and spend time with real people. She can't just sell the house and business and buy more shoes, although there are plenty of people that want to buy this house. She even mentions the rich people in Chicago are coming to New Bison for property because they run out of property on Lake Michigan. And they've made several attempts to purchase her home. And the video closes by her telling Maddy to take care of Baby. Who is Baby, Kari?
Baby is a loyal, beautiful, full-bred mastiff.
Yeah. It's a champion show dog and stud dog. And Aunt Octavia cared for her baby English mastiff very well. Maddy admits that she's only taking care of one pet, and it died because she didn't feed it. So she's like, ooh, I don't know if I could do this. But Baby comes when called. So that's a good thing right there. And
Baby fluctuates between being very well trained and obviously not trained at all. Did that bother you as a dog owner? A lifelong dog owner? Okay.
No, because dogs do that. They just be doing what they want sometimes, especially when they really focus on something. Yeah. Once she's in the car with Baby, she snaps a picture and she posts it because this is what she does. You'll see that throughout the book. This is the last one I'm going to talk about, but she do it.
Don't do this at home, kids. Never post where you are. I don't even feel like I should have to say that.
Well, the book is doing it, so you should say it.
Especially if folks is dropping dead around you, which we'll get to soon.
Yeah, and then you'll hear people say, yeah, I know where you are because you posted it online. So
I know everything about you.
That happens. So that's a good note. That's a good note. So she pulls up to she's getting ready to pull away from the curb. She's leaving the attorney's office and she's getting ready to pull away from the curb. And then a man hits the hood of her car and he starts spewing expletives and tells her to watch where she's going. Maddy apologizes as the man continues to bark at her. And then Baby jumps in her lap and the man just kind of backs away like, ooh, yeah.
And
Exactly. When Maddy arrives at her aunt's house, she decides she likes it. You know, it needs a little bit of work, but she also finds out that her aunt has a love of reading detective novels. Let's talk about some of her visitors. Her first visitor is a guy named Bradley Ellison, the real estate developer. And he mentioned that he has made several offers to Aunt Octavia, but she declined the offers. Since he learned that the niece was accustomed to big cities, he decided, as soon as you get here, I'm going to offer that to you as well. He also tells her that he could work it out a way for her to avoid the residency requirement by selling the house. He could work out a way
it would
for
benefit her.
avoid.
Yeah, financially, sell me the house and it'll be better than this inheritance tax that you'll be facing. Listen, little lady.
Yeah. And in addition to that, he's like, because we could have your aunt declared nuts because she passed up on
we should,
our
because she was
offer.
obviously nuts because she, like you said, didn't accept this offer. So
that's Bradley Ellison. But then as he's talking to her, he realizes, you know what? We got off on the wrong foot. You cute. Let's go out on a date.
Now, I thought Bradley was the one she nearly hit.
No,
oh,
that's
okay.
somebody else.
Bradley's also like blonde hair, blue eyed, right?
Yeah, something like that. I just remember the hair. Anyway, the next visitor is Alma Hurston, and she's been caring for baby since Aunt Octavia died in her unfortunate accident. At this point, Maddy does not know the details of how her aunt passed. And, but that's what Bradley said. He said it was an unfortunate accident. So Alma tells Maddy that Octavia was a strong, independent, and stubborn woman. And she read so many novels that she started seeing sinister plots and evil villains everywhere, to the point she thought something was going on in the town, particularly between the real estate developer, Bradley, and the mayor, and perhaps some kind of conspiracy was going on.
Same story of my life. I always think it's something going on, and it is. And is.
And is. Alma tells Maddy that Octavia died from a tumble down the stairs that go to the beach. And
like
Alma's
Ivanka
daughter,
Trump mama.
Ooh, is that what happened to her?
Which one the daughter? Ivana?
Ivanka is the
Which one?
daughter.
I said, ladies, don't get mad. Get everything in First Wives Club.
Ivana.
Yeah, she fell down the stairs.
Ivanka is the daughter, and Ivana
then
is the
Ivana.
mama. I think so.
Yep, that's how it happened.
Anyway, she fell down the stairs, and Alma's daughter found her. So it's late, but she decides she wants to go to the bakery and kind of check out the bakery. She takes the dog with her. And when they get in there, the store is kind of dark, and baby growls. So she's like, ooh, let me get a knife. So she grabs a knife, but she doesn't have to take it or use the knife. Baby growls again, and she kind of scans the store. She tells herself, you don't have to be afraid. You got you a big dog. Just scan the store. And she kind of makes mental notes about what she wants to change. And then she goes back home. Goes to bed, blah, blah, blah. The next day, next visitor is Leroy Danielson. He came the next morning because he was expecting Maddy at the bakery, but she didn't show up. He was expecting her because the attorney said, Maddy's here, she's the niece, and she's going to be at the shop. Anyway, she didn't show up. So he tells her a little bit about, because there's people milling around the bakery. Anyway, they sent, because she didn't show up, Leroy went to go check on her at the house. Okay. What else do we need to know about Leroy, Kari?
He got one of them blackity black names. And so she like, I didn't know anyone under 89 was named Leroy.
He's like, I know I got an old people name.
Yeah. He's also not well-to-do. He is skilled in baking, but sometimes he used to sleep in the bakery, which has like a flat above it. So not in the kitchen, like calm down. But like the bakery could be turned into an Airbnb if Auntie wanted. So
if she wanted to. Then there's Miss Hannah. She helps with the baking, and she has early stage dementia. Her and Octavia have been friends for over 60 years. They keep her working because it's early stage, and it keeps her in her routine.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and she's useful. Like, she good at it.
Yeah, she's good at it.
Yeah.
And then Garrett Kelly. This is a guy that had a crush on Octavia. He owns the bookstore across the street. So he's a regular customer as well.
So you have now a potentially affluent neighborhood that currently is full of upper middle class skilled Black people. It is on the lake. It is on Lake Michigan in this little town that has been ignored kind of by developers, but now has the attention of some key players in real estate that see the potential for this area to be worth millions. But right now, it's embodied by middle to older age Black people, or a diverse community, really, of skilled workers with good hearts. They like Southern kind of.
Yeah.
Well, like all Black people in the Midwest. We all Southern, except Alexis.
I'm not.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
You be like, Alexis, where your family great migrated from? London. Oh, brother.
Anyway, so the next person is Jackson Abernathy. This is the man she almost ran over with a car. I was trying to buy baby. He comes into the store and it's like, let me talk to you for a second. I want to buy the dog. He called Aunt Octavia stubborn and said that Maddy seemed like a rational woman and surely she would want to take this dog. He offered her she would want to sell him the dog. He offered Octavia. Figures. Yeah.
He's a dog breeder. It's probably his dog. He probably lost it, neglected it. And he, instead of just admitting that, he's like, I'll buy it from you. This full bred mastiff, like, that you just happened upon on the beach. It was probably his dog originally, but he's too prideful to just say that. So she found him, took him in, and it's her dog.
Yeah. And he offered Maddy, 6 figures to take it off her hands. And Maddy didn't accept it. She's like, this is my aunt's dog. I'm here to take care of it. I'm here to take care of the things I've been assigned to take care of. You cannot have it. You cannot buy it from me. Get out of here. Well, when Maddy didn't accept, he goes on a tirade about Maddy's knowledge, her ability, and Maddy throws him out of the bakery saying, you're not welcome here no more. So they kind of get into a thing, right?
I thought this was great character development because you have told us that she loves designer labels, and that can read as superficial and shallow and selfish. But by protecting the things of the dead aunt, an aunt she didn't even really know, and that loyalty, we are now seeing that she isn't a selfish person. And I liked that. I like that she didn't just read as a stereotype. She's not like, ooh, the money, I could expand the closet. And because there's nothing in the will says you have to keep the dog. So she's choosing to just preserve the things of her aunt because her aunt is family. She don't know her. I don't know if she ever met her, but she's going to preserve her things. Good character development.
Yeah. And so next there is Paul Rivers. He is the mayor of the town and he owns the hardware store next door and he wants to buy the bakery so he can expand. Maddy again shuts one more person down. The mayor Rivers, he gets offended. He starts calling her crazy. He says she'll regret not selling to him. And then Miss Hannah. I mentioned Miss Hannah with the early stage dementia. She comes out of nowhere, maybe from the back in the kitchen, and she calls him a murderer and accuses him of murdering Aunt Octavia.
It's weird anyway that Mr. Rivers wants to buy the only independent bakery to expand his hardware store. Like, why are you sniffing around non-competition? He has a reason, but just on the surface, it's weird. Like, go expand, go to a bigger place. Mm-hmm. Ideally, you want the hardware store next to the bakery so that it can be like y'all can help each other. That's a shared demographic, but something else is going on.
Yeah, they want her out. Okay, so then there's that. And then we meet Michael Porter, which is Hannah's grandson.
Who Michael look like, Alexis?
Oh, I was thinking about that, but I don't know. I didn't have a lot of time. Okay. But I know he fine.
What's that actor that like to make watches in his spare time? And
yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
He ain't never been big enough to me because I think he's an amazing actor and he just looks like someone that would be in your family, but handsome. I'm not judging your family. I'm judging my own, by the way.
I didn't take that as my personal family. And he's not Idris, but he actually
he got one of them names. His brother acting now too.
Aldous Hodge.
Thank you.
Aldous Hodge.
This is Aldous Hodge.
He is actually in the latest iteration of
Cross. Don't nobody watch that.
Mm-hmm. People do watch it. They love it.
What people?
I'm not everybody. Shoot.
That is supposed to be Tyler Perry. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Is it? Is it limited to Tyler Perry? Wow.
A lot of y'all have no idea what we talking about. Okay. We don't care. We talking about the new Alex Cross series.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows only Tyler can play that role. Hello.
Okay. Anyway, so this is Dr. Portman, Michael Portman. Maddy asks him why.
Why was Tyler Perry Alex Cross? I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute my mic. Continue, please.
He was expanding his acting reach. Okay, not you having a hard laugh about this.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Kari, pull it together. Okay,
I'm just.
So anyway, Maddy decides to ask Dr. Portman or Michael about Miss Hannah's outburst. She's like, why would she say something like that? Oh, he says, ignore her. Octavia probably lost her footing. And it's like the stairs were slippery because it was icy outside. That's entirely possible. And he chucked it up to Hannah being so close and taking Octavia's death so hard. So don't put any thought in that. She can't pull herself together, y'all. Anyway, let me keep going. As Leroy and Maddy are cleaning up to leave, he mentions that a knife is missing. And Maddy mentions, oh, yeah, I had that knife, but I left it there. I'm not sure why it's not there. I don't see it, but I did leave it over there. He said, oh, don't worry about it. This is Leroy. He said it'll turn up. It always does. And then he asked if he can stay in the room above because he might be baking kind of late. And Octavia used to allow him to do it in the past. And Maddy was like, sure, you could do that. That evening, she at home in bed, like she just laid down, and the police are knocking at her door, and they tell Maddy she needs to come with them, like right now. They being aggressive, and they not really giving her much information. She like, well, I need to come with y'all. I don't know, y'all. This could be, y'all could be dangerous people. Who said
y'all might not even be officers. See, Maddy ain't crazy.
She's not crazy.
She's just like Jimmy Choo. Big deal.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, okay?
Well, it is because Michael Kors bought them, so you probably shouldn't be buying them anymore, Maddy.
When they buy it, before 22?
Yes! Don't buy Versace either. That's the same house. Although the Versace just got bought by Prada, so it might get better. Okay.
So Maddy is like, I'm not going with you. And she decides to call the attorney, the one she worked with for the inheritance, and tell her to meet her at the police station. She goes over to the police station because the police end up telling her that there's been a fire and a murder, and they looking at her.
Her fingerprints are on the only murder weapon. Come on. What?
She's like, what? No, say what?
I just got in town.
So how could I be accused? Anyway.
I don't even hate nobody good yet.
I have not been here long enough to hate anyone. Okay. So she goes over to the police station so they can ask her questions. But when she gets there, we meet Sheriff April Johnson, who Baby seems to love. What do we know about Sheriff April Johnson, Kari?
Apparently, and I knew this, but then forgot, and now I don't even know if it's true. But it's because of Octavia, Maddie's mom, that Sheriff April is even sheriff, because the old sheriff was like a bigot, and Octavia made a comment after he made a comment about April. Octavia said, "Well, you better watch out because next year she might be sheriff." And he was like, "She's not even in law enforcement." Well, she was in campaigning. She had been in some pageants. She knew how to get them votes. And now she's the sheriff with no prior criminal enforcement experience. But she is good at her job and she takes it seriously. So she is sheriff in town. And that's April. And the dog loves her. She was great friends with the aunt.
Yeah. So Sheriff Johnson tells Maddy that Mayor Rivers was, while he was quite infuriating, she does not believe he killed him. But he is dead, and he was in her bakery, and there was a fire started in the bakery, likely to cover up his murder. So we need to know what's going on.
Yeah, we got to investigate this. I mean, you know.
So her attorney comes in, kind of stops her from just telling whatever she wants to say, even though she feels like she's innocent. He's like, hold your horses. Let me talk to you. Stop talking. This is this. Leroy, the head baker we mentioned, he was appointed head baker after Maddy got into it with Abernathy. Okay, that's the one that breeds dogs. And then Tyler, a shop owner she met when she was buying an Afghan, I think. I'm not sure. He's got a store. She posted his stuff and people flocked to it. So, and then Garrett, Auntie's crush. Garrett, so I can't quite put in my head how the fire, what happened. I know that Garrett saved Mayor Rivers. That's what I understand. But somehow Garrett also got injured in there. And
Mayor Rivers is dead.
Yeah, but he dragged him out. He dragged him out. So he didn't burn to death. He was just dead. And whereas Leroy and Tyler, I think, helped save Garrett. Okay. The bakery had water and smoke damage, and they cannot go back in there right away. So there's this group. It's a Sunday morning now, and Maddy's at home, and there's a knock at the door, and it is April. I think April with a casserole. And there are other people coming by. And apparently there is a little group that meet at Aunt Octavia's house when there's a case to be discussed. And they are called the Baker Street Irregulars. It's a community group who talk through tough cases and worked on a plan to figure out who committed the crime. And they did it at Aunt Octavia's house with Sheriff Johnson, Leroy, Miss Hannah, the dementia, and Tyler, the shop owner. So that's the group. From this point on, Maddy and Sheriff Johnson essentially worked together to kind of solve the crime. Nobody, from what they know, nobody seemed happy about the developers coming into town. The developer is Bradley coming into town, buying up property. Mayor Rivers was divorced and he was in favor of the new development. And in fact, he was working with people to make sure everything goes well. Ms. Hannah believes that the developers bought land for a Native American tribe that was likely buying out, and they built a casino on a plot of land. This Native tribe, she believes, was not originally from New Bison, but they moved them in there, all part of a big plan because they thought they could come in, swoop in, and buy up all the land. They bought the mayor, they bought the city council, but they could not buy Octavia. So Miss Hannah said they killed her. Okay. Again, this is being repeated. Maddy is like, why she keeps saying that. But nobody believes her. If you remember, Garrett Kelly was dragged out the mayor, but he was hospitalized with injuries. And in fact, part of his injury, I think he has some burns on his arm, but he also lost his memory. So his short-term memory is not there. He can't remember anything related to the fire. He can't even remember meeting Maddy. He met her that morning, but that was it. He says the last thing he remembers was locking up his bookstore and waking up in the hospital. Mm. Maddy finds another VHS from Aunt Octavia where she tells her about the things that she believes has been going on. She told her where she left all her important stuff, like recipes. That's important. Extra money. What kind of money is it? Mad money.
Mad money.
Mm-hmm. And other important papers. And she thinks the real estate developer, Bradley Ellison, is pressuring folks to sell their property so he can build condominiums.
She's saying like it's a vile thing.
Condominiums. And she says the mayor is a crook and Bradley is up to something bigger and there's somebody pulling the strings. She don't think he's smart enough, but that's who it is. She told her to be careful, trust no one, but she does trust these few people, Leroy, Hannah, Garrett, and April, with her life. But she does realize there may be a Judas in her group of irregulars. Don't tell anybody about the video, and she'll try to leave other clues for her. Bradley Edison and Maddy go on a date, and I think Maddy, to Maddy, he came off kind of pretentious because he's like, oh, and the finest, and he speaks
he's
French
taking out
poorly.
This black girl and he gonna like wine and dine her and amaze her with his French. Meanwhile, she speaks perfect French with no accent. She can tell he's more of a poser. Mm-hmm. But you know, a free meal is a free meal. I know that's right, Maddy.
Come on, sis. Have the meal, okay? She asked if he had an alibi. So they're talking, and she's like, do you have an alibi? He tells her, nobody thinks I did anything with the mayor's death. Not me. She's like, okay.
My eyes blue. I don't commit crimes.
Anyway, after dinner, he wants to go out for drinks, and Maddy is like, another time. She goes
next
home.
Time.
Oh,
he's like,
next time.
There'll be a next time. Ooh.
So she goes back home, and she talks to Leroy, and she decides she wants to go speak to the mayor's ex-wife. So Leroy, and April comes by and she finds out and she goes too. And they get in there, they see Michael, and they all get at this table and they start talking to Michael's ex-wife. And Michael's ex-wife said that she was with the mayor the night he died. He was there talking about everything's going to be all right. And in fact, he was trying to get back with her. She was like, oh, yeah, get back. But then he took a call. She's like, how you going to take a call and still be trying to get back with me? I'm mad at you. Mm-hmm. So she was like, we can't get back together. Of course, he left and he is later murdered. Okay.
And she'll be quite all right with his money.
Mm-hmm. Because they never fully divorced. So she get all the pennies. Mm-hmm. So he actually leaves. That call he got was actually from Garrett, the man who had a crush on Aunt Octavia. And while they were speaking with the ex-wife, Maddy actually gets a text from Garrett. Remember, he was in the hospital, but apparently now he's out. And she got a text from him saying that he's going to tell her everything, meet her at the bakery. So she heads over to the bakery and she takes Michael with her. That's the hunky man, the doctor. And she finds when
he's
they're
a vet,
there.
But
yeah. Don't dismiss him. He's a doctor. Okay. Yes. Don't be like that. It's over to the bakery. Her and Michael find Garrett dead. Maddy passes out. Garrett gets shot.
No, Michael gets shot.
Yes. Michael gets shot. and Garrett is dead. Maddy
Yeah.
passes out. So they're all like, oh, what happened? How did this happen? Who tried to shoot? Who tries to shoot Michael? So now they're trying to figure out what happens. Meanwhile, Maddy has to go to the take her insurance papers in because of the fire. Because she's trying to get the money to start making the repairs on the bakery. And she goes in there and she happens to overhear Abernathy talking to Bradley Ellison. And they talking about
silencing witnesses. And you were supposed to get that girl together. And another guy's like, oh, well, she's just as stubborn as her aunt. And
just like that.
Murder, conspiracy, murder.
Yeah. So my notes stop there, but there's still a little more.
Very little.
So Maddy is like now worried because she recognizes like the voices and she like, he trying to kill me.
Young Blue Eyes trying to get me gone.
So she has another date with him and she goes out with him.
Fishing
and
for
talking.
Information.
And she's like, nobody wants her to go. April don't want her to go. Michael don't want her to go. But she like, I got to get this information. And she goes out on this date with him and they talking. And she's like, oh, it's just, why would people even want to move here? It's just, there's murder and mayhem.
I'm scared for you because you're trying to develop condominiums. And folks is getting murdered. That's not going to help property value.
And he says something that makes her think like, what? I think that's him. He the killer. And he is. That is.
But he give himself away too soon. Like he goes, oh, she asked something. He goes, oh, I'm so stupid. This whole time I thought I was tricking you and you was tricking me. Now I got to kill you. And you're like, sir, work up to this.
But he figured it out because the way she had Paul stop talking. So that was it. That brings us to the end of the story.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to add something more?
No, I want to take a break.
Let's take a break and we'll come right on back and talk about this here book.
Conclusion. Okay, sounds good.
And we're back. Kari. Thank you for listening to my ramblings.
Beautiful job putting that together. No, you did great.
Tell me, would you recommend this book? Tell me, do you have final thoughts, a verdict? Yeah, I want to hear.
Well, I want to talk to Team Literati for just 1 second. Listeners, perhaps you're like, that was all over the place. Can I tell you? Alexis retold it just as it was first told to us in the book. All over the place. Now, that is not a bad thing. Sometimes a book is lighthearted, but follows a flow of logic. This book did that until the last, we'll say, 20 chapters, because it does this weird thing where it makes every paragraph a chapter at the end of the book.
It does do that.
Pourquoi? No one knows. It'll be like, oh, the dog dead. Next chapter, the dog didn't die. Next chapter, Michael got shot. Next chapter, but it was just a flesh wound.
It does.
Next chapter, the white boy did it. Next chapter, but now he's dead inexplicably. So listen, we all got deadlines. And Valerie Burns is no different from you and I. This is another book that ends way too rushed. And it feels like someone was really putting the pressure on Val, our good friend Val, to finish her story. I say all that to say this. It's time for me to get into my hypocrisy bag. When I was writing the verdict, I thought about Finlay Donovan is Killing It, a book we've decided to pan, just me. I shouldn't say us, because Alexis was like, there are words on paper. That's good. And I'm like, do more. It did not follow logic, and neither does this book in a lot of ways. But it is fun to read, and it does follow logic the logic of the story, I'll say a bit like 80% of the way. This book obviously ends with, I would say spoilers, but I haven't read the rest of the series, so maybe it diverts. But it obviously ends with the sheriff killing Bradley using peanut butter in some way. Something about peanuts. Now, that has taken Alexis out, but if you read the book, you know that's where it was going. Why is that funny, Alexis? This is obviously
allergy.
There's no reason to repeatedly mention a peanut allergy and then to never use that as a plot point.
Use it. Okay.
He wasn't about to die, so why he dead now?
Something happened.
Someone got shot. There's a lot of blood, but that blood came from the dog as far as we know. The dog that will make it, by the way. So now we have Bradley, the one who was behind the killing of the nobody that or the mayor, I should say.
The mayor.
And the nobody that worked across the street, the hardware store. Okay. But
Her
Bradley
boyfriend.
makes it clear that Octavia was killed by someone else.
And yeah, he said it wasn't him.
That someone else is the sheriff, you guys. The sheriff.
But he said the sheriff didn't have the sheriff.
Okay. So Sheriff April kills Octavia. Why? Maybe it is because she is a social climber and she wants to also get in on this property scheme with the mayor and whatever. But she is the only one who has access to Bradley in a way that she could sneak and kill him. He's deathly allergic to peanuts and she uses that to kill him. This is not in the book, but it is in the subtext.
Okay, is telling the story.
It seems to me that this author reached one conclusion and the editor said that's enough. We're not going to give them another conclusion. Let them find that in the next book.
There is
However,
a next book.
That leads to an incomplete book, so much so that when it ends and starts rattling recipes, you like, wait, did I miss some pages? Did some pages fall out of the book? Why is it now a cookbook? It's not time for that yet. It doesn't end. It has no proper ending.
It's over.
It's just over. And it's over with the baddie being dead. And logically in your mind, perhaps you are going, oh, the sheriff did it and the sheriff did it so she could cover her tracks from killing Octavia. But it never gives you that information explicitly. And that's unfortunate. However, up until this point, it is a great beach read. It's a great book to pick up and put down and to easily go back into that flow with the plot. There is a good job here of developing characters that are not maybe necessary for the plot, but add to the color of this community. And there isn't a million characters. So it's not like there are too many characters written into the story. They're fleshed out as much as they need to be, this small cast, but there's no ending. And it gives you all these clues that lead nowhere to an ending that you can guess, but it doesn't write. And so that is very unfortunate. Out of 5 stars, I would say this is a solid 2.753. It was enjoyable. It was enjoyable.
2.753. I love that.
No, or 3, 2.75/3.
Oh,
it was enjoyable.
3.
If I had it on a beach, I would have loved it. And yeah, it doesn't end, but we all got deadlines, like I said. So my verdict, would I recommend this book? Yes, especially if you're going on vacation. In fact, only if you're going on vacation. And would I read this again? No, but I would read the next book in the series. Alexis, what did you think of 2-Part Sugar, and would you recommend this book?
It's definitely, well, we know we love a Kari takedown of a book. And we're just going to say that, okay? We love it.
I'm not taking down this book, though. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we love when you give your input. Anyway, I enjoyed the book. It was just it served its purpose for me. It was giving me what I needed. A little cozy book to just read and giggle about and see the silly in it. And I like the recipes in the back. And I don't mind that it left that information out, right? And like it's leading to a next book. She is a series author. So I saw that as something to be expected, and we'll pick up any details that we need to pick up in the next book. So I'm okay with it. I appreciated it. And I would recommend it to a reader that wasn't looking for anything serious.
All right. Well, thank you, Alexis. What are we reading next week?
Okay. So our next book is called Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy by John Le Carre.
I like to say Le Carre, but that's not his name. It's John Le Carre. And you're great for choosing this book this week because we're about to get into some boring dad books. I'm in my dad book bag.
What is the dad book?
Dad books are like spy novels where they spend a chapter cutting cheese, or like literally cutting cheese, not poutine. Or like when the villain's main vice is cold plunges and taking down the British government. These are books that are like very detail oriented.
Oh, gosh.
But I have to say that Tinker Tailor is deemed one of the best spy novels of all time and tops many lists. Yes, I am in my dad book bag where I want to get into some John Le Carre's George Smiley books.
Okay.
Many deem this to be the best spy thriller ever written. And Team Literati, I want to hear what you think after reading Tinker Tailor, Soldier, Spy. Is this the best spy? Is this better than Jack Ryan?
Oh.
Can James Bond? Well, I don't think we like James Bond on this show.
We didn't.
He hates women. Mm-hmm. And his, what's his name? Not Ian McKellen. Why am I doing this to you? Who's the author of James Bond? Sir.
Oh.
Sir.
James Bond books.
Sir Ian Lancaster Fleming.
Ian Fleming. Ian Fleming. Yes, Ian Fleming.
Yeah. So I thought it was time to dig into some of these from my to be read shelf. These are books that a large population has read and feels connected to. Movies have been made about these books, but I've never been connected to them. And so I am just trying something new.
We like new things.
Yes.
We
and
have
I'm
fun
following
with that.
the recommendations of the dads in my life and trying one of their books. Now, if we don't like it, we shall never read anything they recommend ever again.
Is this the first one you're reading from them?
I mean, I feel like we went into David Graham with wide eyes and open hearts, and we had a great time over there.
We did. We had fun there.
Yes. If you can make depression fun, because The Wager is a great time. Pirates. Shipwreck. But whoo, Killers of the Flower Moon. I've been looking at everybody sideways since, especially my husband. I don't eat nothing he cooked. And I ain't even got no tribe worth millions. So the point is, yes, we are getting into our John Le Carre. It's going to be great.
Let's do it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for listening to Lit Society. We'll see you next Thursday. Lit Society is brought to you by Kari Herrera and Alexis Honoria.
That's me.
Support the cause by leaving a 5-star review for our show over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Also, and most importantly, if you want to hear all of our episodes in full, get some merch and have fun, join us on Patreon. That's right. Sign up for Team Literati over on patreon.com/Lit Society Pod. If you've enjoyed what you've just heard, tell a friend about Lit Society. Visit litsocietypod.com for show notes, this month's book list, and to sign up for our amazing email newsletter. And until next time, you guys,
read something.